You're listening to Rockland News, available on Apple, Spotify, and online at rocklandnews.com. Thanks for joining us today. Here is your host, Tom Osa.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us on Rockland News. I decided to name the show This Week Today. We're messing around with the titles a little bit, but we definitely want to make sure that we keep you informed on everything that's going on in Rockland County. We got a whole bunch of stuff going on right now. For instance, this week, the legislature of Rockland County announced that they were shifting the onus of the contracting and general labor work over to the Office of Consumer Protection. I think it's a huge shift, and we're going to be following this story at Rockland News. We got a ton more of other stuff to talk with you about, but first of all, let's just stop the music and say hello. Again, thank you for joining us today on AM Rockland. First of all, we want to thank our sponsors. Very much appreciated. We're going to stop that music, producer. Yes, thank you very much. That's why I called it This Week Today, because it's today. All right, now let's flip over to our sponsors. We want to thank, first of all, the New York Boulders baseball team located in Pomona, New York. They are just about to start their 15th annual season over there. And on top of that, they have synthetic turf, brand new, and you're going to see a lot more events over in that facility. I know, I was there for several years when WRCR radio was there, and I got the chance to watch that stadium grow over the course of time. Stay tuned. And you can get tickets for the 15th annual season right now at nyboulders.com. And stay tuned for a lot more stuff that we're doing with the New York Boulders this year. We very much appreciate them. Work Smart New York Business Boot Camp coming up on April 29th. It's going to be at Dominican University. And our keynote speaker via Zoom is John Katsimatidis. He's the owner of Red Apple Media Group, which has WABC Radio, and Gristides, as well as D'Agostino Supermarkets. The dude is a billionaire, and he's going to do a keynote speech called How Far Do You Want to Go? Lessons from a Common Sense Billionaire. That's coming up this Wednesday, April 29th. Breakfast is at 8:30. We're going to sit down at 9 o'clock. Keynote is at 9:15. And then we're going to have a bunch of TED-style talks, not the same, TED-style talks from well-known business people in Rockland County and also authors as well. So learn more about that at worksmartnewyork.com, worksmartny.com. We also have Yabu Fence Company. Yabu! Yabu Fence Company since 1965 has been serving its residents across Rockland County so that they can get quality fencing and they can turn your back home or your backyard or your front yard or anything on your property into the outdoor of your dreams. Plus, we have our friends Dana Pest Control, danapestcontrol.com, family-owned, third generation, amazing pest control company. Learn more about their services at danapestcontrol.com. So you can protect your home on the inside, and then you can get your fence on the outside. And for those of you in the business sector, of course, retail, that has, for instance, deli machines, ice machines, machines that they have to always keep maintained, contact Easy Temp, located in Hackensack, New Jersey. They cover the tri-state area, and they can help you with all your ice machine and general refrigeration repairs. Been in business many years. You can check them out at easytemp.net. We got a whole other litany of sponsors. I'm just going to name them real quick. Fiesta Acapulco, Kobe Sushi. They had their jazz music night last night, and we were there. Whole Shop Bagels. Mention Rockland's News and get a free bagel. First-time customers only. Stony Point Pancake Factory, UPS store in West Haverstraw for all your business card needs and your promotional printing needs. Ivy Rehab Physical Therapy, Inest Vape in Stony Point, Susan Bova Coldwell Banker Realty, she's awesome. 99 Signs for all your digital billboard and portable sign needs. FZ Perfection and Clean Space Junk Removal Company, so you can get all of your stuff out for your spring cleaning. Yes, we know our customers and our advertisers happy to promote them on this show. Let's get right into the news. Okay, the first thing that I mentioned before, the biggest overlapping story is that Rockland County Legislature's vote to overhaul the county's home improvement law. Rockland County Business Journal previewed the vote on April 13th, while Muncie Scoop and Rockland Post reported after passage that the measure cleared 14-1 and shifts Rockland toward a more Westchester-style model with a licensing authority centered in the county's Office of Consumer Protection rather than the prior board-heavy structure. This is the clearest countywide policy move with, I'm not even going to read the rest of this. I'm just going to tell you. RC Business Journal, Muncie Scoop, Rockland Post, LOHUD, and News 12 all reported on this. So this is definitely an issue that the public wants to be aware of. And we decided to skip a little bit of a beat on the news cycle. As you know, we can break news immediately. There's a lot of times when we choose not to as we gather more information, and not in a journalistic approach, because we don't want to have an opinion to shift the public's opinion. We want to report exactly on what is going on. So in this case, we decided to get a little bit meta on it. We're not the only news agency. We're going to talk with you about what's happening from an interview standpoint on both sides of the issue to find out if the general public is in agreement with this, or perhaps the general public doesn't want to do this. This is something where the news can help the public to make more informed choices. That's a note directly from our editor, Heather Allwine at Rockland News. So we are going to be following this. And also, I was at 2 business meetings this week, Wednesday and Thursday, and in both cases, I essentially told the contractors of the group, there's approximately 10 of them, I says, you're an industry professional in your industry. So hop on Rockland's News and let's talk about it from your perspective. Do you think that this is the right move or the wrong move for Rockland? And we just want to listen and get the word out there. Very similar to the way that WRCR used to do it. A second multi-outlet story is the new transfer agreement between Rockland Community College and Ramapo College of New Jersey. And Rockland's News, Muncie Scoop, and Hudson Valley Press all carried versions of that story this week, emphasizing now that RCC students that are completing an associate in arts or an associate in science, the degrees over at RCC, can transfer their credits over to Ramapo College with a junior standing. Generally, you have to have a 2.5 GPA threshold. And I should note that that was my mechanism for being able to transfer from Rockland Community College, which was a 2-year school back in the 90s and early 2000s, over to Ramapo College so that I could finish my degree. We're not going to get into the whys and hows, but I will say that that's an excellent move in the right direction, because one of the important things about education on a long-term basis is to make sure that you continue your information feed in some really good quality colleges. And RCC on one end of the coin, good quality college, right? And Ramapo College. And they're very close to each other. I mean, they're literally like about 5 to 7 miles away. I actually lived off campus when I was going to Ramapo College because I didn't want to get into like the dorm culture there. I would have been an idiot, more so of an idiot. But I do have to say that it was a great school to go to, and I really learned a lot. The number one thing that I learned from RCC and Ramapo, whether I applied it or not, with my history degree after college is like, hi, would you like some coffee with that? But the number one thing that I really, really dialed into is that the beauty of learning how to research things properly. That's what I got from my college experience. So kudos to RCC and kudos to Ramapo College for forging out this new agreement. NIAC is getting the most visible momentum in the event space this month. NIAC News and Views highlighted the April 12th Street Fair and Pedro Capo appearance, plus a separate spring events roundup promoting the April 18th Secondhand Hop, the Stack Earth Day Fest, all right, St. Thomas Aquinas College, and NIAC Restaurant Week, which is running from this past April 13th to the end of this week. So this is going to be a great time for people to head over to NIAC and check out the local cuisine. I'm there often, checking out Casa del Sol for late night. There's always across the way, there's Old Village Inn, which is a fantastic place. The food is great at 2 o'clock in the morning. And definitely, if you stay there too long, I highly recommend an Uber home. And that's not the only restaurant. There's Peruvian food. There's Mekong District is an amazing place, by the way. And Casa del Sol, for the nightlife, you could check out Olives. They got a great music scene over there for many years. They don't really pay well, but that's fine. I mean, honestly, when you just getting started out, you got to build a following. That's a great place to build a following at the beginning. Traffic roundup. So Muncie Scoop reported active resurfacing in Ramapo beginning on April 13th, which was a few days ago, on Pomona Road in Ramapo, and also on Town Line Road in Orangetown. And also there's an upcoming Route 59 bridge rehabilitation closure in Spring Valley from about May 21st through Labor Day weekend, the end of summer, with detours and pedestrian impacts. And a separate Muncie Scoop item also reported a truck fire at College Road and Route 59 that briefly threatened heavier disruption. I should also note something. I found this very interesting, and just looking at it as close to the center as possible. But the articles that were posted about the change in laws over in Rockland County Legislature with the building department, like I mentioned at the beginning, the rewriting of the contractor licensing rules so that the onus is in with the Office of Consumer Protection, which is a big shift one way or the other. So in the Rockland County Business Journal article, actually, I'm just going to read this off to you. So let's just see, rcbizjournal.com. As I always say, Tina and I don't always agree on everything, but she does her research. So let's look for that specific article. I'm going to go over to latest news. And where is it? Hang on. Stay with me. Listen to some music in the background or something. Actually, it's a little tough to find things on the site. Let's see. The name of the word was draconian. I found that interesting because it's a Game of Thrones reference. There we go. It's right there. Took a little time to find. Okay, so the title of the article, is Draconian Changes to County Home Improvement Board will be up for a vote on Tuesday. And obviously Tina reported on that and so on. Okay, so then we go over to the Muncie Scoop. This is kind of my meta commentary on what's going on. So news. Where is it? It might be on Facebook. I just want to make sure that I get this right because I saw like the title of this and I found it very interesting the way that it was characterized on that particular perspective and such. Okay, it was really interesting because it looked like it was open for business. Rockland County Legislature passes historic consumer protection overhaul. So what we're going to do is we're going to hang out right in the middle, like I said, and we're going to look at the landscape. And everybody else is going to report on it. And then we're going to tell you guys that are listening in on this what everybody said. This is the perfect story because everybody's reporting on it. Now I'm really interested on not just the outcome, right? And we'll deliver the information to you, but I'm personally interested in how everybody else is reporting it. I'm going to learn something one way or the other. And I hope through our efforts here at Rockland News, you do as well. Traffic is a real watch item this week across Rockland. The County Highway Department has already started resurfacing work on Pomona Road in Ramapo, as I mentioned before, Town Line Road in Orangetown, and that means the drivers should expect periodic slowdowns in those active work zones. Now, the bigger traffic headline is Spring Valley, where there's a key stretch of Route 59 over South Pascack Road expected to close from around May 21st through Labor Day for bridge rehabilitation. So officials are saying that the project is going to upgrade the bridge's safety, widen lanes and sidewalks, and detour both vehicles and pedestrians around the work area. Add in this week's truck fire at College Road and Route 59 in Muncie, and traffic is clearly one of the county's most practical live issues, And as mentioned many times before, Rockland's News' mandate this year is traffic. There's many reasons for it, but it's about traffic. It just is. RC Biz Journal also reported some fresh tension over the Chippy construction corridor and its effect on North Rockland businesses. And this has to do with something that the North Rockland Chamber of Commerce is involved in. The North Rockland Chamber, I was a participant on the board on and off for about 15 years. So before I resigned in 2024, but the board remains, and they dealt with the issue of what happened with the many businesses of North Rockland that lost $13 million during the summer of 2025 overall because of construction they allege was conducted by Champlain Hudson Power Express. I have to say allege because Chippy hit back. Chippy essentially said that they're not responsible for any of the monetary damages incurred by the retail centers. Tina Traster reported on this from Rockland County Biz Journal, and basically it looks like the stance from Champlain Hudson Power Express, which is a 339-mile pipeline that goes from Canada all the way down to New York City and transmits energy, and it's essentially going to account for 20% of New York's energy supply over the coming decade. So obviously it's something that New York State wanted to have go through here. It ended up on Route 9W. Chippy basically say they're not responsible for it. And unfortunately, from my opinion, and I do have to say this, and I'm not going to mention names, some of you know my particular leanings on this regarding an individual and or group that, let's just say, moved the needle a little bit and brought helped to bring the Champlain Hudson Power Express pipeline onto Route 9W. All right. It should have been down by the train tracks. It just should have. We wouldn't have had to had this $13 million mess one way or the other. And in my opinion, no names, no matter what happened, that pipeline was going to go through North Rockland. We protected the fish. We protected the train tracks. We protected the cemetery. What do you all think that New York State was ultimately going to do? So stay tuned. There's a lot more to that saga. A lot more. Because this is going to be going through courts. That's all I got to say. It's going to be going through courts. All right. I'm sure both sides know that there is a legal battle ahead. We will be following it because, quite frankly, I live like about 3 minutes from Route 9W, and I'm interested to see how this plays out. And again, we are going to report fairly. My gripe is over. My gripe ended when New York State basically said, no, we're going to plop it on Route 9W. All right, because I know from a business standpoint, and I always did, George, Susan, etc., that something like this was going to happen if we kept on protecting all the other places. New York State was going to make sure that this thing went through. Anyway, I guess that's my episode of No Names. I haven't done an episode of No Names in a long time. I really haven't. I guess I'll have to call it Some Names now. All right, let's round this up. I got some work to do, quite frankly, and I hope everybody is having a good day. But I do want to mention one last thing, and it has to do with construction impacts in North Rockland, and it's a quieter story, okay? Rockland County Biz Journal also reported that local businesses in Stony Point, Haverstraw, and nearby areas say that they're still dealing with financial pain linked to that construction activity, while the project stakeholders that I mentioned disputed who should bear responsibility. I just told you about that. But the other part of the story, Congressman Mike Lawler said that he's still doing meetings on the issue, and the chamber leaders quoted in the report, if you speak with me offline, I know which chamber leaders. but they say that they're being fielded strung along and are still waiting for meaningful answers. This matters because it goes beyond that single road job. It's about whether the major infrastructure work can move forward without leaving small businesses dealing with the absorption of the damage. Whether or not it had to do with traffic, it's Captain Obvious, whether it did or it didn't, but there's definitely monetary damages there. Now it's a matter of where the liability sits, and that's what I perceive with Mike Lawler. Those are the continued meetings. So if any of you ever watch the show Billions, you understand there's the press releases and the public thing, the public sentiment, but that shifts behind the scenes with the lawyers, the Lawlers, and other state officials, senators, congresspersons, assembly persons. Hey, just out of curiosity, does anybody know where Pat Carroll is? Because we're curious if he's doing anything with this. You can give him a call and ask him if that's something that he should be getting involved in, because we're still waiting on those safety components for Route 59 during the protests at Four Corners. We had reached out to Pat Carroll numerous times, and for some reason, it seems that he's not doing anything on this issue, although he was very critical of it back in the winter of 2025 and 26. So you can contact Assemblyperson Patrick Carroll at 845-634-9791 right now and ask him, hey, by the way, do you have an opinion on this? I'm actually curious. We're also going to be calling as well for the fourth time. Okay, last thing. Obviously, I was a little passionate, but hopefully you understand I'm trying to keep it as fair and balanced or objective as possible. All right? And it ain't easy. I'll tell you, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so we got a quick business note. We have an announcement to make. So for those of you that have been listening to the show and following the overall saga of how Rockland News has been shifting and adjusting with the changes of tide that occurred over the last 18 months in the communication space, and let's just take a step back and look at it. All right, first of all, we do not have a local AM radio station at the moment. WRCR AM 1700 basically shut down. They are still in the process of moving the radio frequency over to WABC radio, okay, Red Apple Media Group, okay, and they're simulcasting WABC radio onto there, okay. But there's more, all right. 18 months ago, we had maybe 5 news publications out there that were covering local news. We have been taking tabs, and there's a whole lot more. All right. And we never had a desire to be the only kid on the block. Look, we're learning as we go along. We get it. But check out all the news sources that are out there right now that are just covering, Rockland. RocklandNews.com, Rockland County Business Journal, Rockland Post, Nyack News and Views, Rockland Report, Muncie Scoop, Rockland County Times, Hudson Valley Press, Mid-Hudson Press, Peekskill Herald, and the newly minted, and we did this for Rockland's News, Stony Point News. They need some updates on there, but that's the framework, and it's looking pretty darn good in my opinion. So you're talking about almost 12 different news publications. So there is no problem now where anybody can say that they didn't know that they were informed. I remember when I was on social media for a long time, I was like, oh, I didn't know about that. Really? Pick a publication, for God's sakes. Pardon my French. So we're okay on the news thing, all right? But we want to go further. We want to let you, the public, know what's going on. Very important. What's going on? And to that effect, we are doing and sponsoring an event 2 weeks from yesterday. And we've done this 4 times. We even did it during COVID. This is our 4th annual event. It's called Work Smart New York. It's a business boot camp that's going to start at 8:30 in the morning at Dominican University. We're going to serve you breakfast, and then you're going to get to sit down comfortably and start to hear introductions, and then you're going to hear your keynote speaker. And that keynote speaker is John Catsimatidis. He's the owner of Red Apple Media Group and WABC Radio, as well as several supermarket chains that you know and love. D'Agostino's, I'm a paisan. All right, D'Agostino's, Gristedes. He has a rags to riches story, man. I'll tell you. He has his book. I speed listened to it on the way back from the city one day after a proceeding that we covered for Rockland's News about the Palisades Center. It's called How Far Do You Want to Go? And at Work Smart New York on April 29th at 9:15, John Catsimatidis is going to be zooming in to the audience, and he's going to show you how you can go further in your business and your life. And he's going to relate stories directly from the book. You'll have an opportunity to buy it afterwards if you want, but you can get a really, really great education in just 30 minutes, okay, from John Catsimatidis, from WABC Radio and a whole bunch of other things. He's got a lot. And don't even worry about the dollars and cents. If you're going there just because, oh, I want to be a billionaire too and nothing else, do not go. Really. Go for self-enrichment, personal enrichment, so that you know that you can do really amazing things in your life as well. So even if you get a nugget of wisdom from this gentleman, it'll be worth it. You can learn more at worksmartny.com. Tickets are on sale now. It's $29.95 for in-person. We have a limit of 100 people, okay? And there's coupon codes out there for all of my colleagues, but it's $29.95 to be in person. And we're also setting something up for a live stream while it's happening. You're also going to get great sample books from a bunch of authors. Joe Barata, he just wrote a book called, let me just bring up the title right here. I want to make sure I'm getting this right. I was going to say I got a guy. I know a guy. Okay, so this is his third book. He wrote a book called I Know a Guy, and it's basically how to be a connector in a very disconnected world. I just mentioned like 12 different news publications, plus your social media, plus all the other distractions. This is how you can really, in the midst of all that, be a connector and a recommender of the quality services. It really raises your status in life, and Joe Barata is going to be talking about that at Work Smart New York. We're also going to have Hopeton Scott talking about tax saving strategies, and I'll be doing a little something about something that actually was a personal challenge for me since 2023, but I was able to meet the challenge head on, be able to shift and change direction when I needed to in order to keep moving forward, and finally meet the moment and be able to win. And the name of this part of the conference is going to be called Improvise, Adapt, and Overcome. The 3 strategies for professional and personal life-changing results. And we'll do each one of these is going to be 25 minutes. Catsimatidis as well. And again, go to worksmartny.com and you can learn more. And we look forward to having you either at the conference or on a live stream. Tickets on sale now. We want to thank our sponsors. I'm going to mention them with Ilana on the air. So hang on, let me just cue that up. All right. Last thing I should note, today is going to be sunny with a high of, wait, I'm looking at the wrong weather. See, I never said I was going to be 100% perfect at this. Special thanks to Jim Keenan that says, you know, that's what I like about Tom. He just does stuff fearlessly. I appreciate you, man. Okay, so today, Thursday, it's going to be 86 degrees at its peak. That's going to be at around like 2 o'clock, and then it's going to go down to 61 degrees, mostly cloudy the rest of the day. Friday, it's going to be 73 degrees and partially cloudy, but partially sunny. Saturday and Sunday, it's going to be cloudy and maybe snowy on Sunday. Saturday is going to be 67 degrees, 67. And then Sunday, it's going to be 54 degrees with like a mix of clouds and rain and snow and like something that looks like a black diamond. Hope it's not going to be a blizzard. It sounds like something you should do for skiing. All right. And then we got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So Monday is going to be sunny. Tuesday is going to be sunny. Wednesday is going to be cloudy. Thursday is going to be sunny. So that is the report. And hey, thanks for staying and tuning in with this. It's about a 30-minute show, exactly the way that I always envisioned doing this. I have a habit of doing things in 30-minute segments. 25 minutes and then 5-minute break, get back to it for 2 hours, and then take a 30-minute break. That's called the Pomodoro method. Look it up. It's amazing. And by the way, I hope you join us for our Work Smart conference, because we're going to learn a lot of really great tips on how to do those things professionally over the course of time. This is the kickoff for that. That is just getting started with a billionaire doing a keynote. Anyway, all right, not tooting horns. We're going for this. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you that have been doing this with me for 4+ years, live streaming. And let's get on the lovely Alana to mention our advertisers.
You're listening to Rockland News, available on Apple, Spotify, and online at rocklandnews.com. Thanks for joining us today. Here is your host, Tom Osa.
And thank you, New York Bulls baseball team, for being our premier sponsors for 2026. You can get your tickets for the 50th annual season right now at nyboulders.com. Work Smart New York Business Boot Camp. Remember, I mentioned April 29th. You can learn more at worksmartny.com. Yahoo Fence Company, Dana Pest Control, Easy Temp for all your ice machine repairs, starting in Hackensack, New Jersey, covering the Hudson Valley. We got Fiesta Alcohol, Kobe Studio, Whole Shop Bagel, Stony Point Pancake Factory. And finally, UPS Store, Ivy Rehab Physical Therapy, Susan Volva, 99 Signs, Everyday Professional School-Based Maintenance Management Company. My name is Tom Osa. Have a great rest of your day. See you next time. Peace out.